Hi, this is Mia, and my capstone topic is alternate reality games, narrations, and emotions. So first talk about my interests. So my interest in capstone starts with narrative structures and storytellings. That's because from my previous experiences with media and stories, I always find some stories are more fascinating to me, not because of their plots of characters, but because of their unexpected way of telling stories. Thus, it brought my interest to the field of narratology and the narrative structures. And after research about new media forms across media narratives, I chose alternate reality games as my research subject. So let's briefly talk about ARG first. In the paper called Emergent Narratives, collaborative storytelling towards narratological analysis of alternate reality games, Dr. Felicitas described ARG as an interactive narrative that uses real words as a platform, often involving multiple media and game elements to tell a story that may be affected by participants' ideas or actions. Here I use an example of ARG to have a better understanding of them. So The Beast is an ARG developed by Microsoft to promote the 2001 film Artificial Intelligence. And it's usually be considered as the first ARG in the world. The entry points to this game embedded into the film promotion centered on the fictional Janae Sella and the death of her friend, Evan Chen. And in 2142, Janae learns that Evan was murdered and her investigation uncovered a network for murders of humans and artificial intelligence. Players were led through a network over 40 websites created by Warner Brothers via clues left in trailers, print ads, posters, telephone messages, and live promotional events for the film. And there is a link to a documentary about this ARG. Check it out if you are interested. One thing noticeable is this is the first ARG, and also other early ARGs. Their function or their purpose are for commercial promotion. And then I started my research on academic articles. And here comes the literature review. The first article is Emergent Narrative Collaborative Storytelling towards a Narratological Analysis of Alternate Reality Games. And the authors of this article start the analysis of ARG with the classic debate between narratology and ludology, whether ARG is a form of storytelling or gameplay. And of course, as a narratologist, the author was more in favor of narratives by acknowledging the narrative structures as immersive pleasure of its realistic aesthetic. And then the author analyzes ARG narrative structures using the concept of script, performance, and the protocol. The performance here refers to the user's transformation, emergence, and the contingency of the text. She states that the performance of ARG is largely based on the collective understanding of the story and solving the problems, which is very different from the traditional narratives. And besides, the relationship between script and the protocol in ARG is separate, while in traditional narratives, the script and the protocol are the same and one entity. I think there are two important takeaways from this article. The first one is ARG is unique position of being interwoven between narration and gameplay. This would be a special narrative structures for ARG. And the second would be the narrative structure of ARG in terms of scripts, performance, and the protocol, and the differences between ARG and other media forms. The next article is Storytelling in New Media, the case of alternate reality games from 2001 to 2009. And in this article, the authors analysis early ARGs from 2001 and the 2009, they conclude some common and shared features of ARG, like discrete problems, overarching narratives, and participation. And those details and categories features are crucial for further ARG analysis. And the next article, the author briefly talk about the history of ARGs, how its major purpose and function turned from commercial promotion to educational purpose. And the next one, the media and emotion introduction. The author talked about how media will affect audience emotion representation, emotional elicitation, emotional practice, and emotional culture. And specifically, they discuss a term called pre-focused emotionality. And this term refers media direct, manipulate, and representation of emotions through narrative, rhetorical, audiovisual, or other means. They present critically pre-focused text, inviting the users to develop emotions of a certain kind. The way they do this is largely media specific. For instance, like films uses close-ups to focus on emotional cases, and the print media may employ detailed descriptions. So this feature leads me to the question, what is an alternate reality game's pre-focused emotionality? And how do ARG's narrative structures and the features affect a player's emotional practice? And another reason that I have this question is because the major purpose of ARG are commercial and promotions and educational tools. And actually, they are very different from other narratives like films or novel. What could be the reasons for that? And the significance of the research is the first, from a psychological point of view, emotions are a significant part of human cognition. And meanwhile, narratologists are always trying to find out the relationship between narrations and human cognition. So the study of a new narrative form, ARG, might bring some new perspective and discussion to this field. And the second reason is, as I mentioned before, the major purpose and function of ARGs are commercial and educational. What could be the other possibilities for ARGs? And can they become an expressive tool like films and novels? And can they have more serious expressions? For my next steps, I will first finish the literature review and then started case studies and analysis of those ARG forms in the next half the semesters. And that's all of my presentation today.